Hello, and thank you for clicking on my channel, Cali Legends Media. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button down below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Your opinion is very important. Also hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever a new video drops and you go back and watch it whenever you have time. Okay, so I haven't given a prison story in a while. This one it don't have a lot of hoopla, but it has a very important point to it. A lot of times we're put in position while incarcerated that we don't totally agree with, but nevertheless, we need to perform, okay? Now, let me just set the story up a little bit so that way you guys get an idea on what was going on. And probably the heads of the inmates in both the cells, my cell and the cell next door. Now, I had been in this cell already for quite some time, maybe like a year and a half, I would say. And the cell to my right was the closest cell. You know, the way the doors are positioned is you'll have two doors together, and then there's a separation, a long separation, and then another two doors, you know? So it was my cell and the cell to my right that was involved. What was happening was something that jumped off on the yard with the blacks and the Hispanics. And during the lockdown, a black inmate came out of his cell when he had kept the door open, kept his door cracked, and when they were running showers for the Hispanics, he came out of his cell and he ran across the day room, went into the homie's cell, and ended up booking both of them. That was in retaliation for everything that took place during the confrontation with the blacks on the yard and in the day rooms. So, excuse me, about a week went by. Some Hispanics got out and caught a brother out in the day room getting ready to shower and sliced them up, right? So it was going back and forth. And I think on that one we got locked down for I think around 6 months. But of course, anytime during that 6 months, if our doors would have opened, mine and my neighbor's doors, we would have had to get busy. And we knew they were strapped up because we heard them working on their things, you know. Even though they had music on and all that, we could hear the scraping and they were sharpening something in there. We had our bangers too that were already made and ready to go, right? So we knew that if these doors cracked or they decided to open up yard and we hadn't got word that everything was cool, that we were going to have to take flight on our neighbors, right? And it would have been to the level of taking each other's wind, trying to take each other's wind, right? So we had a good relationship with our neighbors, man. Our neighbors were cool. I remember one day I was sitting down and I don't know if I was writing a letter or I was reading a letter, but something flew underneath my door, and when I got it and opened it, it was a little ball of weed, right? And I jumped up and I went to the door to see who it was, and my neighbor was hanging on the bars, and he just looked back and he went like this, like to let me know, did you get that? And I told him, yeah, all right. Thanked him, you know. He just did that on his own, just on the strength, you know. I didn't ask him. I didn't even know he had anything, you know. He just like, I guess he peeped out that we were in there. This was during peacetime, not during when the tension was on. Another time they needed they blew out their electricity. They needed some electricity, so we ran a cable from my cell to his cell so they could have electricity. Um, Another time, dude asked me if I had a couple of soups. So I shot him like 8 soups, they didn't have nothing, I guess. So I was like, here, I had a gang of stuff. I mean, we were fat on store for reasons I'm not going to get into right now, but we were straight. So yeah, I put a bag together, shot him like 8 soups. I didn't know what else I shot him. I might have given him a little plastic baggie with some coffee, some other stuff in it. But anyways, I just made it like a little care package. And when I came out, I just sat it between my cell and his cell. And when he came out, I looked at him and I looked at the bag and he looked down and I went like, I signaled him to take it in. So he got it and he slid it in his door and he closed his door and we went out to day room. We were good with each other for that year and a half. There was no funk, nothing but respect. In any case, when the yard jumped and it was on, me and my Sally had talked about it, about which one I was going to get, which one he was going to get, or at least we were going to try to make it happen that way. And every time doors were opening and stuff, we were there standing at the door, because doors get open by accident sometimes. But it would have been a terrible thing, man, if we had to do something to them two guys, man, because they were cool, man. They were all right. I had nothing personal against these men. And those are the types of situations you find yourself in many times while incarcerated. You might even have a Sally that turns out to for whatever reason need to be dealt with, and it becomes your responsibility. It's a guy that you may have lived with, you've shared with, you've ate with, you've maybe you guys went back to back on the yard, during something with another race or something. Who knows what kind of history you might have with your Sally. But if he falls in bad graces and it's time for him to go, then more than likely you're going to be that guy. In other words, you get put in situations that you may not agree with when you're incarcerated. It's just part of the program. It's just the way things are. There's no free ride in prison. Nobody goes to prison and just has a jolly old time and just does whatever. On the 1 and 2 yards, yeah, there's more fun and games there. It gets a little more serious in the 3 yards and the 4 yards. There's no room for no bullshit. So nothing happened between us. What ended up happening is I got moved. I got moved to another cell. And eventually my Sally got moved. And those black guys got moved. And they put some blacks in my cell and some woods in the cell next to them. So I don't know what their thinking was, what the strategy was, but basically they brought in 2 more black guys. For sure, the blacks were outnumbered in our day room, and probably before they opened the yard, they wanted to kind of even it up a little. That's the only thing I could think, But yeah, they basically ended up taking that cell and giving it to some other inmates, And things never kicked off, And I was glad. I'll be honest with you. I was glad, not because I was scared, not because no other reason except, man, these dudes were cool. You know what I mean? They were cool with me. Uh, I would have hate to have done something to them, but like I said, you get put in situations sometimes that you just have to do what you got to do. You know. So if you don't want to go through that, you don't want to deal with having to go against your character, against your feelings. Um, Best thing to do is try to do your best out here to remain out here and deal with the kind of stresses that you get from just living life rather than the stresses you get by being in prison and having to fall in line with rules and regulations that you may not feel good about, you know, for whatever the reason, you know. And like I said, whether you like it or not, you it's a way of life when you're in there that you gotta follow suit, you know. And no cells, you're not gonna be there and not participate in the reindeer games, you know. If you don't, you're gonna get removed, you know. They want every cell to have people that are part of the army, you know. They don't want people taking up space, you know. They the thoughts of the people that run the prisons is to have strength, power in their car, you know what I mean, with the people that are running with them, you know. So let's stay out of prison, man. Let's not fall into those traps that lead us there. Let's make some good decisions in our lives so we can remain out here with our family, with those that love us, and so we could be there for them whenever they call upon us. Thank you for watching this video. Keep these things in the back of your mind when you're getting upset at some fool, some road rage hits you or something. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it falling behind bars over some nonsense, you know. If it ain't that serious, let it go, you know. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next video.